Before we go any further, I want to invite you to pause, not to think, but to feel. Notice your breath. Notice the weight of your body where it meets the chair or the floor. Notice your posture, the tone in your chest, the subtle state of your nervous system right now. This is not a grounding exercise to do manifestation better. It is an orientation shift, away from mental control and toward the place where reality is actually responding. For a long time, manifestation has been taught as a mental activity. Change your thoughts, upgrade your beliefs, visualize harder, align your mindset, and reality will follow. And for many people, this works. Briefly, until pressure appears, until the stakes increase, until visibility, responsibility, intimacy, or uncertainty enters the picture. That's where mental manifestation breaks down. Insight does not stabilize the nervous system. Belief does not override contraction. Visualization does not soften a body that doesn't feel safe to receive what it is imagining. This isn't because you're doing it wrong, and it isn't because you lack discipline or faith. It's because reality doesn't respond first to thought. It responds to physiology. Before thought forms, the body has already answered the question, is this safe? Can I stay open here? Do I have capacity for this? The body contracts or opens long before the mind explains why. This is also where the ego is misunderstood. The ego is not a personal flaw or a mindset problem. It is a physiological protection pattern. It is the shape the body learned to take when openness felt unsafe. When manifestation teachings frame resistance as a mental block, people end up fighting themselves, trying to fix fear, override doubt, force positivity over contraction. But contraction doesn't dissolve through effort. It dissolves through awareness. So in this series, we are not going to try to change your thoughts. We are going to listen to your body. We will name contraction without trying to fix it. Notice tension without making it wrong. And begin to understand manifestation as a somatic dialogue with reality, not a mental negotiation. Because manifestation doesn't begin in the mind. It begins where the body feels safe enough to stay open. Once we step out of mental manifestation, something important comes into focus. Manifestation is not an event. It is not a moment where you get what you want and then move on. And it is not a straight line that begins with intention and ends with arrival. Manifestation is a cycle, a living, repeating, embodied process that reality responds to continuously, not once. Most manifestation teachings quietly rely on a linear fantasy. You decide on an outcome. You align your thoughts. You do the practices. And reality delivers the result. If that were how creation actually worked, success would stabilize automatically. Growth would feel clean and uncomplicated. Expansion would never trigger fear, resistance, or collapse. Yet real life tells a different story. Manifestation begins with desire, but it does not end there. Desire is the initiating signal, the moment something in you leans toward more life, more expression, more connection, more impact, more freedom. Desire is not a problem to overcome or a temptation to suppress. It is information. It is the body sensing possibility and reaching toward it. From desire comes expansion. Opportunity appears. Energy increases. Momentum builds. Life begins to open. This is often the part people recognize as manifestation working. But expansion always increases load. More opportunity brings more responsibility. More visibility brings more evaluation. More success brings more demand. More choice brings more uncertainty. And as load increases, the body responds. Not because something is wrong. Not because you lack alignment. Not because you sabotaged yourself. But because the nervous system is designed to protect capacity. Contraction is not a sign of failure in the cycle. It is a phase of the cycle. When expansion outpaces what the body knows how to hold, self-protection emerges naturally. Energy pulls inward. Motivation wavers. Doubt appears. Avoidance creeps in. Clarity fades. This is the moment most people interpret as collapse. In linear manifestation models, collapse is treated as a mistake. Something to fix. Something to override. Something to push through. But collapse is not a mistake. Collapse is feedback. It shows where growth exceeded integration, where openness exceeded embodied safety, where the system needs time, not pressure. The cycle is most often broken not by contraction itself, but by the attempt to bypass it. Integration is the phase where the body catches up with what has arrived. The nervous system learns that expansion can be survived. That responsibility can be held. That visibility does not equal danger. That receiving does not require collapse. Integration is quiet. It does not feel like achievement. It feels like settling, stabilizing, learning to breathe again inside the new reality. Only after integration does true receiving occur. Receiving is not the prize for effort. It is the body's willingness to stay open once something is present. And once receiving stabilizes, desire arises again. Not because something was missing, but because life continues to move. Desire, expansion, contraction, integration, receiving. The body moves between openness and protection as a natural rhythm, not a flaw. Success does not mean staying open all the time. It means learning how to move through the cycle without self-attack. Reality is not responding to your thoughts at a single point in time. It is responding to how your nervous system moves through change. This is why manifestation cannot be mastered as an outcome. It must be lived as a process. Because reality doesn't respond once. It responds continuously to how the body moves through change. Before we go any further, it's important to be clear about what this series is and what it is not. This is not a law of attraction program. There are no techniques here designed to override fear. No practices meant to force positivity. No pressure to stay high frequency when the body is asking to slow down. Nothing in this work asks you to push past what you are actually experiencing. That distinction matters. Most manifestation systems, even gentle ones, still rely on force. They ask you to think differently than you feel, to visualize beyond your capacity, to hold a future your nervous system doesn't yet know how to inhabit. When fear appears, they try to correct it. When doubt surfaces, they try to replace it. When contraction shows up, they try to dissolve it. This series takes a different approach. Here, burnout is not a failure. Avoidance is not resistance. Shutdown is not a lack of motivation. These are protective responses, intelligent ones. They're how the body preserves integrity when demand exceeds capacity. So instead of working against these states, we include them. We listen to them. We slow down with them. We allow them to be present without interpretation or urgency. There is no requirement in this work to stay open. No expectation to be productive. No demand to keep moving when your system needs to pause. Permission to slow is not a setback. It is how safety is rebuilt. In this series, awareness is the healing intelligence. Not insight, not effort, not discipline. Awareness, the simple, steady capacity to notice what is happening in the body without trying to change it. When contraction is met with awareness instead of pressure, it begins to reorganize. When fear is allowed instead of corrected, it softens. When shutdown is respected instead of overridden, energy slowly returns. Capacity does not grow by pushing the edges of tolerance. It grows by inhabiting experience from the inside. By staying present with what is already here until the body learns it can remain open without harm. This is why the work is somatic. It does not try to make you bigger than you are. It helps you become safer being exactly where you are. And from that safety, expansion happens naturally. Nothing in this work is designed to push the body beyond what it can hold. Before we continue into the rest of this series, I want to offer a different way of engaging with it. This is not content to consume quickly. It is not something to optimize, analyze, or turn into a strategy. The invitation here is to watch slowly. You don't need to remember everything. You don't need to agree with everything. You don't need to figure out how to apply anything right away. Let the words land at the pace your body can receive them. As you watch, notice what happens inside you. Sensations may arise: tightness, warmth, heaviness, ease, curiosity, irritation. None of these need to be changed or interpreted. If resistance appears, don't correct it. Don't argue with it. Just notice it. Resistance is information. It often points to the exact places where something meaningful is touching the system. You may notice that some parts of this series resonate immediately, while others don't. Let resonance matter more than agreement. Agreement lives in the mind. Resonance lives in the body. If something feels true before you can explain why, trust that. If something doesn't land, let it pass without forcing understanding. Your body is the primary listener here. If at any point you feel overwhelmed, distracted, or fatigued, pause the video. Take a breath. Shift your posture. Come back later. There is no benefit in pushing through. Integration happens in the spaces between words, in the pauses, in the moments when nothing is being done. This series will meet you where you are if you let it. Because if you watch this series with your body instead of your strategy, it will land where it needs to.